I'm sorry, this is not going to be the best quality video. Anyway, so hi people. Today I'm going to be talking about what I read for Bookemon during February and March. This is just a reading wrap up for February and March. I categorize it by what I read for Bookemon, so it's just basically a reading wrap up. So if you don't care about Bookemon but you care about what I've been reading, then you can still watch this video. I do also do another reading wrap up for Babe, which is a book event I want to go to. So a lot of the books that I read for Bookemon I did read for Babe, and so I won't actually talk about my thoughts and feelings and stuff in this video. I'll talk about those books in my Babe video. So yes, I'm combining February and March just because I sort of got to like the middle of March and I hadn't filmed my February wrap up, and I'd read like 3 things and 2 were manga at that point in March. So I was like, let's just combine the two, because I'm obviously not going to read a lot in March. And I didn't end up reading a huge amount, but I still read more than I was thinking I would, which was nice. Give a little summary of how I'm going for Bookemon overall. Also, sorry if you can hear raindrops. It's raining. I mean, that's kind of self-explanatory. Just I feel like they get that, Meredith. So yeah, it's raining, so I'm sorry if you can hear it. I feel like rain is a nice sound, because I was like, damn, I like really want to film, but it's raining. And I was like, it's fine. The sound of rain is like nice, so I think it'll be fine. But if it's not fine, grow up, I guess. Okay, so these are my stats for February and March. So I retrieved 21 items during those months. I made progress on the Chicken, Volcanic Rock, and Legendary Sword. I lured out 10 Bookemon, and overall I've lured out 14. I feel like it's decent. I don't know, as like the creator, I feel like I should be doing more, but it's like, well, I'm so busy making stuff for the readathon, so that's my excuse for why I haven't read very much. So yeah, we had a lot of themed Bookemon in these months. We also had the adventure Bookemon, so obviously lots of Bookemon were retrieved and different reading rather than working on my sort of regular Bookemon. But I did also get my monthly ones, and I got another of the seasonal, so I have made progress on those as well. So let's just go into the items. I'm going to start with Chicken, because I feel like that's just where I'm going to start with every wrap up. So I read volume 2 of One Piece. Sorry, I was only up to volume 2 in February. That like blows my mind. I feel like my perception of time this year is just completely fucked. Just like, what? I can't even remember volume 2. I think I really liked volume 2. I honestly was really enjoying them up until I'm up the Usopp like arc. I'm not really enjoying that. It's kind of boring and very long. Yeah, I think volume 2 I really enjoyed. I think that's Buggy, and I really enjoyed the Buggy arc. I really liked the dog that like stayed and protect his owner's shop even though the owner had passed. That like got me all in the field.
シュシュ、わしももう年だな。入院することになっちまったや。だがな、必ず良くなる。わしが戻るまでしっかり店番しててくれよ。留守を頼むぞ。
I think this is the volume where I was like, I cannot handle Zoro, but apparently he's meant to be silly, and that made me feel a bit better, because I was like, I literally, like, I am incapable of taking this man seriously and not wanting to just like die whenever he does lame shit. So there was like one part where he was like fighting this guy, and this guy like wanted to fight him for revenge or something, and he was like, this isn't even an equal fight because I'm just way better than you. So he like hurts himself, he like cuts part of his arm or something, and he's like, now it's equal. And I'm just like, bro, why? And then for March I did Give Me More. Oh my god, I just talked about Give Me More, and that's for Babe. I'm not supposed to talk about Babe books in this video. Why do I do this? And then obviously I made progress on Volcanic Rock. So for February I read Hen Fever. So this is for the little Discord Chicken book club that some people doing Bookemon have made. I'll link it in the description if you want to join. But yeah, they just were like, let's read a chicken book every month for Chicken. And you can also use it for a Volcanic Rock for 1 month. And so yeah, I used it for Volcanic Rock. I gave this 5 stars as well. So this was a like sapphic novella. With novellas, like romance novellas, obviously like majority of the time the progression is like way too fast, but I've learned to kind of go in with the mindset that it's gonna be fast and appreciate it for what it is. So for what it was, I think this was like so sweet. I can barely remember what it's about because I feel like it's so long ago that I read it, but it was just like historical romance, sapphic. I think this chick like finds this chicken that's like super rare, and the chick that owns the chicken is like, oh, I was gonna kill it to eat tea, and she's like, no, this is like one of the super most rare chickens. And it's just like really wholesome, like let's take care of these chickens and have a really sweet, wholesome romance, which is like divine, and we fall in love, and it's just really cute. So I gave it 5 stars. I feel like I should say more for a 5-star book, but I can barely remember it, to be honest. Like, I don't think I mentioned, but last month, horrible, very emotional month for me. I feel like my memories before last month are completely fried, and even my memories from last month are completely fried because I have been through it. Yeah, life's just been kicking me in the ass, so sorry if like I'm not really doing great in this video. I'm trying my best. And then for March, for Volcanic Rock, I DNF'd These Violent Delights, which is for the Recreate book club, which is run by Ashley, who I love, and I'm so sorry I DNF'd this. DNF'd at 27%, but I used my shoes, the tools. Completely forgot about the tools, to be honest, and it's sad because I created them. But yeah, I used my shoes to allow me to count that. There's nothing wrong with this, to be honest. I mainly just DNF'd it because I was not in a good place at the time. Like, I was barely able to read, which is why I barely read in March. And I was like, the last thing I can do right now is like read a fantasy on audiobook. I had no idea what was going on. I did not give a fuck. And honestly, even just like in general, YA fantasy is not really appealing to me at the moment. So it just flopped like hard, and I was like, I'm not going to finish this because it's just not working. I was like, I'm not at 50%, so I can't count the DNF, and I was like, oh my god, I used my shoes. Oh my god, shoes.
Oh my god, shoes.
I made progress on Legendary Sword by reading Hurt You. I don't know if it's like a contemporary or literary fiction. I struggle sometimes with being like, is this good enough to be a literary fiction? Am I even in a place to judge that? No. So I don't know. It feels literary fiction, but I don't know if the quality is high enough, and it might be more genre fiction. I don't know. But anyway, it's like a contemporary, and it's a retelling of Mice and Men, which I have read. Whether I like that or not, I don't know, because I read it a while ago, and I've heard some interesting discussions on problematic elements of that book since, and I'm like, huh. So I actually don't know if I'd like it anymore, but I enjoyed it when I read it when I was like, I don't know, 16 or some shit. It's about a girl whose older brother has a disability. The author has a son with a disability. I don't know if it's the same. I felt weird trying to look that up, so I just didn't because it felt really invasive. But she has said that she's based a lot of this book on her son. And the book starts with, we know that the brother has been shot. He's been killed in a shooting, and we're going back to see what led up to this occurrence. I think I gave it like 3.5 stars. Like, it was okay. I don't want to say too much about it just because it is for a vlog, so I think I will leave it kind of at that. But I had some mixed feelings, some things I really liked. There was definitely a lot of depth and complexity to it, but I feel like the author was trying to attempt too much, and I just don't even know how I feel about the idea of, you know, the shooting and everything. I don't really know how I feel. Okay, so now we can just go on to all of the items because we've gone through the ones that I'm making progress on. Blood was the item for the February Bookemon, and I read Emergence for that, which is for Babe, so I won't go through that. Bow and Arrow, I read The Archer Princess, which is also for Babe, so I will go through this in that video. For Bone, I read Zodiac Academy from the boys' perspective, so this has like skulls on the cover. Honestly, I don't really know what to say about this because I talked about the first book last video, and this is basically just the first book in the guy's perspective. I would consider it kind of essential. Like, I don't know if it's essential reading. I mean, the guys are horrible, but it gives you more context as to why they're horrible, and it's like, this makes it like a little bit less unbearable. I understand why they're doing the things they're doing, especially like Darius and Orion. You get more context as to why they're doing it. I feel like Darius and Orion, it's different compared to like Caleb, Max, and Seth. Like, what the fuck's that guy's name? I just feel like they don't have as much of a reason to be dicks. Again, I don't know if it's necessarily essential reading, but I do think it's beneficial for certain. So it is just like the same thing though. Like, you're just reading the same thing, and I read these like back to back pretty much, and it was a lot. Then I got Ladder, and I read Not So Kind Regards, which is for Babes. I'll talk about that in a Babe video. Then I got The Cog, and for that I read Bingo Love. So this is a graphic novel that chronicles this relationship between these two women. So it kind of is like modern day, but it goes back into the past to when they were young, and obviously was not acceptable generally by the wider community for people to be queer then. So yeah, it talks about how they fell in love but they couldn't be together, and then them reuniting and everything. So it just like chronicles their love story. I have mixed feelings because it involves cheating, which I really don't like cheating, and it's like, yeah, I understand it's rough. I don't know, it was just like a little bit ick. But like, I also like felt a lot because you really felt like sad for them. and you just like wanted them to be happy. And I feel like there's probably a lot of elderly people that can relate to this, that were queer and were unable to be queer and probably fell in love and were unable to be with the people they loved because like literally their lives were in danger because it was just so scary and unsafe to be queer then. And I mean, in some parts of the world now it still is, and it's terrible. So yeah, like I feel like there is a relatability to this that, yeah, it's like interesting, it makes you think, and it's very emotional. But you know, it was just like elements of cheating, and there's some things I can't really remember because again my brain's fried, but like there were just some things that I was like Then I got to the perfume and I read Heat of Love for that. So this is a contemporary romance. It's about a chick whose bakery burns down and she has a romance with the like investigator firefighter, and it was really cute. I think I gave it 4 stars. It was definitely a very like healthy, slow moving, like I don't know, just like healthy normal relationship, but it was still quite enjoyable. I like that they kind of started hooking up before becoming friends and then they sort of, I guess, progressed that. I think the thing that like I didn't like about this was that there's like this scene where maybe I'm like remembering wrong, but I feel like the main guy's like, he has like this long monologue about how he's like not into monogamy, like monogamy doesn't work for him, and then it's just like never mentioned again, and he just like commits monogamously to this chick, and it was just like strange because I was like, was this like meant to be cut out of the edits? But I mean, this is an audiobook, so I would assume that it's meant to be there. But it was just very strange because I'm like, okay, why was that mentioned if it was never relevant or addressed again? It was just like dropped, as if like people that are not into monogamy can just like flip a switch, you know? And it's like, well, I don't know, maybe some people can, but it's not like that for everyone. So not addressing that just felt strange. But maybe I'm like remembering incorrect, but I feel like that happened. But yeah, it was cute. They had great chemistry. I liked how healthy it was, the discussions they had on loving again because she was a widow, and just like opening your heart up again and being vulnerable. And I think it really did capture like how scary love is, because love is scary, and it's really scary to open up when you've been hurt, especially when you've lost someone you love, like when someone has died. It is very scary, I imagine, to let someone back in after that kind of experience. But just any kind of love in any way is risky and scary because it's so important to you. It's such a pivotal part of who you are, and you can lose it. Being willing to open up and do that again, knowing how much it hurts, is really scary. So I felt like it captured that really well. Then I got to the coat hanger and I read Kraken's Sacrifice. One of the best things I've ever read. I didn't expect to be saying that about a book with tentacles, but I've stooped to an all new low. So this is monster smart romance. It's based in this world where human women enter these like bargain contract things where they like live in these different realm world things. It's not super explained in this book because it is the second book, but it's still explained a decent amount. But again, my brain's fried, and honestly, all I can remember is the tentacles. No, I'm joking. That's not why I gave this 5 stars. I need to make sure we know that I didn't give this 5 stars because I like tentacles. In this one, the chick enters the bargain, and she does it because basically she feels like she has no life. She doesn't really feel like she connects with anyone and nobody likes her. She's had a really toxic relationship with her mother, and so that has really affected her immensely, and she is not a mentally healthy woman. She is struggling, and so she enters this bargain because she's like, well, people like rich people because the chicks get paid a lot. I think they have to be there for like 3 years and then they get to go back to the human world and they like earn a lot of money. And she's like no one likes me anyway. I may as well have people like me in a fake way because at least that's something. And people like rich people, right? They like money. That is just like heartbreaking. And anyway, she like enters the bargain with this guy who has tentacles, and he has lost his past lover, and so he's really grieving over the loss of his partner, and they're both kind of not in a great place, and they kind of have like some smart pretty early on. Like he like kind of helps her out. She's like horny, and that works really well because she is like iconic. Okay, she's hilarious. She has the most hilarious thoughts. She's just literally everything I wish I was. So she like sees him and she's like, oh, I do like tentacle porn.
You've never let me down before.
So that made that whole why the fuck would she be interested in this thing with tentacles kind of just instantly go away, because you just you just got that she was weird and would be down to try it. You know what I mean? So that's how that kind of worked. But yeah, it was just this beautiful story. I swear to God, it was. Listen to me, okay? Yes, there's tentacles, but there's also emotion. And yeah, it's just about them, like, recovering together. But I love that it had such healthy discussions around how, like, you can heal in a romance, you can heal with someone, but you're still doing the work yourself. They're just there supporting you. And it was just, like, really, I don't know, just, like, emotional seeing them, like, heal together. And there's just this scene that just, like, sticks out so much. And it was when I read this scene that I was like, this is 5 stars. I love this. I don't know, Katie Roberts just, like, absolutely killed it with this one. So the bargain, like, the contract will fail or, like, be, I don't know, like, cut short or whatever if the women are, like, hurt or sad or any, like, if they're experiencing really, like, awful emotions or go through something really bad. He kind of abandons her. Like, he just leaves her alone because he's, like, grieving and does, you know, he's gone through his own shit. And she doesn't want to be alone. She hates being alone. And there's so many cute scenes of her just being like, I'm bored. Someone talk to me. But she, like, is lonely, right? She's upset and lonely. And, like, it doesn't register in the contract. And it's because she doesn't register it herself. Because it's just normal for her to be lonely. And it's just like... I was nearly sobbing. I was like, what the fuck? That hit so hard. So yeah, this was incredible. I need to reread it. I really wanted to, like, film a clip of me talking about it after I finished it because I feel like I had so many more thoughts, but it was just amazing. Like, literally perfection. 5 stars. I loved it. Probably my favorite thing I've read so far this year, and I know, like, we're only 3 months in, but still, it was so good. So there we go.
I hate myself. Oh, I hate myself.
So I got Handbuzzer and Peach by reading Faith Taking Flight and Faith Something Something, the sequel to Faith Taking Flight. These were okay. They were, like, YA, I want to say, like, contemporary with a little bit of fantasy. So, like, it's set in our world, but, like, people can get superpowers. And so at the start of the first book, she, like, goes through this situation where she gets superpowers so she can fly. These books just felt messy. They didn't feel they were concentrating on anything. They just felt all over the place. I don't really know what the point was half the time. I didn't really know where a lot of the plot points were going. I feel like a lot of time was focused on things that weren't really important. Like, it feels like there was all this stuff going on, but it was so focused on her everyday life. And I was like, this all just feels pointless. Like, I don't feel like this has a point, you know? The romance, unfortunately, kind of gave me a bit of the icks. I didn't really like the romance. It was just one of those cases where it's like, okay, someone's been forgiven way too easily. I think that they need to grovel more, and I honestly, I cannot fathom, I just can't fathom it. So yeah, like, it was okay. I don't know. Is what it is. So I got The Fan, which was the item for the March Bookemon, and I read The Storm in the Darkness, which is for Babe, so I'll talk about it there. Then Rubbish Bin, I reread Our Haru Ride. I don't know, it's just amazing. 5 stars, I love it. So Rubbish Bin is like a Merb favourite book. And I love that, obviously. And it was great. I'm not really going to talk about it because I feel like I've talked about it a lot over the years because it's one of my favourite manga, but it's just iconic. I love it. It's so cute. It's just like a contemporary romance and it's delightful. It's kind of one of those ones where it's like these two people liked each other, or like young, and then they got separated and then they re-meet and they're both changed a lot, and it's like, we can't go back to this time, and it's just very emotional and I quite enjoy it. And it talks a lot about like friendship as well, and like sexism and the way girls hate on each other. It was very comforting rereading that because I do love it so dearly. And it was just like a warm hug, you know, it was very good. And then I got The Acorn by reading A Soul to Keep, which is for Babe, so I'll talk about it there. Then I got Tiara, and I read Ruthless Fae for that. I'm not really going to talk about this much because this is another Zodiac Academy book. So this is the second book. I have read this one before as well, so this was a reread. I quite enjoy this book. Like, listen, I don't know why I like these books. Like, it's one of those things where it's like, I like this, but I'm also aware that it's very flawed and I shouldn't like it, but I do. It's just fun. I don't know, they're addictive and they're just silly and like they're so repetitive and they're so overwritten and there's so many unnecessary scenes. But I have a great time. Like, sometimes I'm super bored and just like, I don't know, want to eat grass because I'm so bored. But like, sometimes it's like amazing and great and I'm having a great time. I basically am just here for Tori and Darius. Why do I ship them? I don't know. Don't ask me why. Yes, he tries to drown her in the first book. Yes, I know how fucked I am, because why?
I hate myself. Oh, I hate myself.
We're not going to talk about it. But yeah, this one is more enjoyable because they give it back to the guys a bit more. And having read from the boys' perspective, you have more context as to why the guys are doing these things. And they're slowly letting their barriers down in this. And you can slowly see that possibly there is a way that they're not going to continue being dicks. And they're going to find ways to not have to be dicks to the chicks anymore. Should I like it? No, but I do. Leave me alone. So we did have obviously some themed Bookemon, but I'm not really going to go into detail with those. Basically everything I read for these is just doubled up, so I've kind of talked about it. Obviously we had our adventure, which was so fun. I really hope that you enjoyed your adventures. I really enjoyed writing them and getting them all set up, and it was really fun. Just unfortunate that March was like a horrible month for me, so like I wasn't always the best at getting things posted, but luckily I'd kind of done all the work prior, so there was just not much I had to do. Yeah, I really enjoyed the adventure, so I hope you guys did too, and I'm excited to set up more in the future. But yeah, I also got my Bookemon through that, and basically I think everything I read for that I've talked about. So yeah, that's going to do it for my February and March Bookemon wrap up. Hopefully going forward I'll be doing one of these each month, but we'll just see. So thanks for sticking with me, even though my videos are not great quality. I mean, this is in my car, like what am I doing? I'm hoping things will get better and my channel will improve as things get better. So thank you for sticking with me if you do through this time. If you fuck off because the videos are shit, honestly don't blame you. I'm confused by the people that choose to stay. Thanks for hanging out. If you're doing Bookemon, thanks for joining, thanks for the love. I hope you're having a great time, because I most certainly am. And I will chat with you all next time, but until then, that was so weird. I don't know, it felt nice though, but it looked weird. It's like, now I can't stop doing it. Anyway, bye!